Hey guys, Yip here coming with another video, and this one is going to be about High Botanist on Mythic difficulty. Now, High Botanist on Mythic difficulty is quite a hard fight for an Affliction Warlock, but it's definitely a very rewarding one, and one that I really want to highlight for 7.2 in particular. Now, in 7.2, they changed raids a little bit for Warlock. Now, when you dot adds and they die and they grant you Wrath of Consumption, they also grant you Reap. So similar to the Voidlings at the end of the Star Augur, now every single one of these adds will give you Reap when they die. So on High Botanist, you truly have infinite shards and infinite Reap, and what you do with these resources is really going to determine how well you do on DPS, because this truly is a boss with infinite potential with regards to an Affliction Warlock. So I want to talk a little bit about how to maximize that today, also a little bit about the build that I'm playing and how you want to do that, okay? So on this boss fight in particular, the current build that I'm running is going to be Malefic Grasp, Contagion, Soul Harvest, and Soul Conduit. Now, this build is super powerful on this fight because often you can get huge Soul Harvests off. You can Agony the additional Botanists. Probably don't want to do that. You probably want to Agony the Spheres and the Lashers the most that you can, because they grant you that Reap and Wrath of Consumption, and you don't want to spend too much time dotting because that does eat into your globals, but you can dot the Botanist for an additionally long Soul Harvest. So you can dot all of these things to get a really huge Soul Harvest, and with that Soul Harvest and Wrath of Consumption and Reap, you can use all of those damage modifiers and truly pump into the boss, okay? So I really want to highlight that. I really want to highlight the fact that every single time your Soul Harvest comes off cooldown, think about, okay, when are the next ads spawning? I'm going to precast Agonies on these Botanists. I'm going to start Agonying all the ads, use my Soul Harvest. Once those ads die, I'll also have that Wrath of Consumption and additional Reap stats I can use with it, and with all of that stuff, I'll just blow up in the boss with 5 Unstable Afflictions and make sure I'm channeling Drain for the best of my ability the entire duration. So you definitely want to think about that while you're on the boss fight, but you also want to think about getting consistent Drain cycles off. You can't only get damage off during Soul Harvest. If you only get damage off during Soul Harvest, you're really going to be missing out on a lot of the potential, because the majority of your DPS actually comes outside of Soul Harvest. So you need to make sure that on this boss fight, you're really focusing on getting consistent drain cycles in. You really need to focus on between the cooldowns of your Soul Harvest, you want to be getting a lot of damage in. You see, I always make sure that I tab to the ads that are about to die to refresh my Wrath of Consumption, but outside of that, I'm very, very consistent and always getting, you know, my 2 dots up, getting my 2 to 3 UAs in, and then, you know, just channeling into the boss whenever I can. Now, often I cast as many as UAs as I can because I do have an infinite amount of shards in this fight. The reason you have more shards than normal is obviously because you can Agony as many things as you want on this boss fight, and that just gives you that extra shard gen that you really need as a lock, so make sure you're doing that. Now, I want to talk about how to handle dotting the ads, okay? So first I want to talk about the spheres. So the spheres on this boss fight, the way that you want to dot them is you want to start by dotting the melee one because it's going to be the one that dies first. Now, when it dies, especially in phase 2, it's going to spawn the Lashers as well. You want to make sure that you dot at least one of them, preferably the one that's dying the quickest, because when it dies, it will Soul Flame and then tag the other one, and that will give you the Wrath of Consumption and Reap from those. Then you want to turn over and dot the range one. After you dot the range one, you want to dot those Lashers afterwards, maybe just one of them, and then you want to dot the final sphere. Now, the way you want to dot this final sphere is you always want to make sure that you only Agony it when it's extremely low. This is because you don't want to kill that sphere too fast. It will end up wiping your group if you do kill it too fast, so don't throw too many dots up on it. But what you can actually end up doing is you can throw that Agony out and it will only tick for, you know, 20 to 30k damage over the course of 4 or 5 ticks, because it takes a long time to ramp up in terms of damage. That's the way Agony works, and that will allow you to get that Wrath of Consumption while not wiping your raid group, okay? So those are really the important things to focus on this fight. The important things to focus on this fight is one going to be getting your Wrath of Consumption stacks, getting your Reap, getting your additional shards, and using all of those to pump back into the boss. The other thing is going to be really focusing on your Soul Harvest, okay? And now I can't emphasize this enough, guys. Make sure you're getting damage in on the boss outside of Soul Harvest. It's super important, and a thing that I see a lot of Warlocks making a mistake on, so I'll mention this briefly just so you guys don't do it, is they spend a lot of times multi-dotting on the Solarist and the Arcanist while they're on the Naturalist, or they spend a lot of time dotting the one that you're not supposed to be killing, and this is truly a huge mistake. You really don't want to be spending too many globals dotting the other botanists in this fight, because you just don't need to. You have enough resources otherwise to do enough damage. If you're going to be dotting these other guys, you're really going to be wasting way too much time on your globals that you're not going to have enough time to get all of your all of your UA cycles in on the boss, and that's a really unfortunate thing. You really want to make sure that you're getting all of your UA cycles and drain cycles in that you can on this boss, because if you know you're only getting 10 to 15% uptime on Malefic Grasp, it's really not going to be enough to parse or to do well on this fight, okay? So now we've entered phase 3 on this boss fight. This is the last phase. You only have the one boss, so obviously here you're just single targeting. You're killing yourself if you get Call of the Night, but the way you want to play in the last phase is you just want to keep your dots on the boss, keep your cycles going, and then when he casts the sphere thing, you want to do the exact same thing you were doing in phase 1 and 2. You want to dot the melee one first, then you want to dot the range one, and then finally, just before the last one dies, you want to toss Agony on it just to do that additional, get that additional Wrath Against Substance. So you see here, I get rezzed, I just go ahead and do that and continue my life on the Solaris. So that is how to play on Botanist Mythic. It is quite an exhausting fight for an Affliction Warlock because you have to be interacting with all the ads, you have to be interacting with the boss, but I truly believe this is the best example of Warlock gameplay in 7.2 because you can really apply it to a lot of bosses. You can apply it to Gul'dan, dotting the ads on Gul'dan and focusing on getting your cycles in. You can apply it to Tichondrius, focus on a single target build on Tichondrius. You can apply it to Spellblade, the Spellblade ads. So this is how you're going to be playing on Botanist Mythic. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Unfortunately, I don't get any loot at the end. I end up bonus rolling Artifact Power. That's always fun. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Yips coming at you with another one. Just a couple things before I end the video. I will be doing my next log review on the 26th, so I'll be uploading the one that I did this Sunday, probably later today or something like that. I'm also probably going to be coming out with a generic 7.2 Affliction Warlock guide, so keep an eye out from that. It'll probably just cover, you know, rotation, how to play a Mythic Plus, how to play in a raid setting, single target, multi-target, talking about all the builds, all the things that's changed. So hopefully you guys look forward to that. It probably won't be too much different from 7.1.5, but there are some things that have been changed and some things that have been added that I do want to talk about. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys later.